Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2018, and I think a new experiment but also a continuation of an old experiment. I have no idea how far this one will run. We're going to have a look today about 5 years into the future of the career of Jenkaldo Jr. He is the best player in the world, undisputed, possibly the best player of all time, although he never won a World Cup with England. And if you've been watching the experiment of the perfect player up to now, you will know that he has just decided to retire and become a football manager. So you can see on the screen here the basic stats that the game has given him. He is a perfect manager, can also be an assistant and a fitness coach, which is quite interesting, especially as he's only got 11 for fitness but 20 for tactical and 17 for technical, 19 on mentals as well. Doesn't really matter what these stats are at because I'm about to turn them all up to 20. So we'll have a look at how he does as a completely perfect manager. Most of his mental stats, if we look at his staff details, are already pretty high. We're going to knock current ability and potential ability up to 200 as well, in the hope that it will allow him to get a job. I'm not going to boost the reputation because I know from the past that if you put his reputation up to the maximum, no club will hire him. My one really big concern is about his coaching badges. He's only got a National B licence, which is a little bit concerning because I don't know what level of club he'll be hired at with badges like that. So we might have to intervene a little bit. But unfortunately, I can't edit his coaching badges without using the full outside of the game editor, which you can't do for a save partway through. So I just don't know how you change that badge, and maybe one of you can let me know in the comments if there's a way that I can go about doing that. But for now, we're just going to go forward and see. Hopefully he gets a job, and hopefully they do mess around with his badges or give him the funding to go ahead and do some more coaching badges. But I think it is going to be difficult. So we'll go forward 1 year in time now and have a look at how he's doing. Well, we are now 2 years into the future because that's how long we needed to progress to get to a point where he'd really done anything. You can see on the screen all of his statistics are up to the level of 20. Absolutely everything out to the max. If we have a look at his staff details, you can see 200, 200. His reputation, I've just messed around with a little bit now because as Blackburn under-18s manager, he's not necessarily in the best possible position. He could maybe do with having his data analysis updated, although I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference for an AI manager. If we have a look at his milestone screen though, you can see he has had very little going on. In fact, he only just got hired as the caretaker manager, or the under-18s manager, in October 2042, so about 8 months ago. But he did have a little stint in November as the caretaker manager of Blackburn. He was only there for about 2 weeks, that was it, before he was removed as caretaker manager and replaced by somebody else. So if we have a look at who the current manager is for Blackburn, it is Carlos Eviat from St Kitts and Nevis, which is a little bit odd. But he wasn't good enough to hold on to that position, so he's currently the under-18s manager. I'm not sure where he goes from here, but hopefully he will be able to do the coaching badges, because at the moment he's still got a National B licence. He's only getting paid 1.6 grand a week, which, given as a player when he retired he was on $500,000 a week, that is a massive, massive pay cut. But let's go forward a little bit longer now and see if he can progress from this role with Blackburn or where he ends up next. Well, we're another year ahead in time, and as you can see, he has become a manager. He's become the manager of Boston United completely independently. There's been no interference from me on this. It's just where he has progressed to. He's still got a National B licence, which is quite frustrating, but he is at least a manager. And if we have a look at the milestone screen, we can find out that he also had a stint in charge of Luton. So he left his job to take up the Luton manager role. And if we just scroll back, you can see he was hired as manager, brought in some people on free transfers, didn't spend much money whatsoever, went through in the first round of the Carabao Cup, won in the second round, but were knocked out in the third round by West Ham. Won in the first round of the FA Cup as well, but failed to qualify from their group and was actually sacked in November 2043. Just 4 months after getting the job, so that is not a good start for him, really. And if we have a look at his time at Boston, he was hired just a month later as manager of Boston. He's been there now for an entire year, so he's still going at least at Boston. And if we have a look at what he's managed to achieve here, you can see he was hired as manager, lots of transfers as you would expect. Actually won the Manager of the Month in League Two, and they qualified for the playoffs, which is why he was there. But they were knocked out in the semi-finals of League Two by Gillingham. So definitely a club looking for promotion. I don't think there's going to be much cup success for them, and they failed to qualify from their group. But if we have a look at Boston United at the moment, then you can see that they finished in 6th place last season, so up from 9th to 6th, a little improvement there, still manager. And if we look at League 2, we're currently in December of 2044, and you can see that they are still in the playoff positions in 7th place on 37 points. Very tight in and around them, so not sure if they will actually finish in that position or not. Quite a bit off the automatic promotion places, but still interesting that they are in this kind of position. If we look at the stages screen and drop back a year, we'll be able to see how he finished up last season. So you can see they finished in 6th place, but didn't manage to get through in the playoffs. They were beaten 4-2 on aggregate. Actually, their home result really not good enough to get them through. The away result, losing 2-0, didn't help. But they weren't able to do very much there. And if we have a look at their schedule for their senior squad this season, you can see that it's not a bad run of form. It's a little bit patchy, a lot of defeats in there, but some wins as well, not too many draws, but not really good enough to get them in the position maybe they're expected to be finishing. I'm not really sure where they're supposed to be finishing. Maybe if you can find the stats for the league, then you can see they were actually 5-1 favourites to win the league, expected to finish second, so some way down on where really they should be, in 7th place there. Hopefully he can make that ground up, otherwise he might be getting sacked from his second job as a manager, and we'll just have to see how he gets on. So let's go forward again in time and see if he manages to help Boston get promoted. Well, here we are now 5 years ahead of time into Jenkaldo Jr.'s career. Unfortunately, he is still only on a National B licence, and you might be getting excited about the fact that he is managing Derby County, but I'm afraid to say that's because he wasn't managing another club, and I have forcefully put him in charge of a bigger club in the hope that it will kickstart his career. You can see in the bottom left, he managed 2 years at Boston before getting sacked. If we look at his milestones and drop back to that Boston career, you can see he was sacked in 2045, I think at the end of the season. In the 2044-45 season, they finished all the way down in 11th, a long way short of the second place that they were expected to achieve, and it cost him his job in March 2045. Over a year and 3 months later, he still was not in a job. There was no real sign that he was going to get another job. And so I've taken the unilateral decision to use the in-game editor and give him a new position. I'm not really sure where this experiment is going to go, because I think that National B licence is just holding him back so far. Even if I put his reputation up to the maximum, it changes absolutely nothing. No club will pick him up. So we're a little bit stuck, really. We need to hope that this Derby County stint works out for him. Otherwise, I think there's not really a lot else we can do. So what I'm going to do now is just go forward 5 years, because that gives him a chance to manage Derby, and it gives him plenty of time if he does get sacked to get another job. And if he doesn't get another job, I really don't know where to go from there. So let's go forward 5 years and see what he has done. Well, we are 5 years into the future now, a total of 10 years into his career, and you can see that at the moment he is the fitness coach of Rochdale, which is an indication that maybe his stint at Derby County did not go well. He's still got the perfect stats, so Rochdale doing an absolute blinder getting him in as a fitness coach, but he's still got the National B licence, which is just the thing that is absolutely limiting him. When you look at his career at Derby, you can see he only lasted 6 months in the job, hired in the summer, sacked before Christmas. because they were not doing well in the league. And he's been at Rochdale since the 1st of June, so only 5 days he's been at Rochdale. That's nothing to do with me, it's just where he ended up. And I mean, there's not really much point in looking at what happened in Derby, because it was a bit of a sham appointment by me, and it just went absolutely nowhere. So I really want your opinions here. What do you think we could actually do to get him a job? What else can we do? Is it worth taking this forward? Would you like to see another part of this? I can maybe take him forward 20 years and see if anything's happened, but he's 49 years old now, still got that National B licence 10 years into being a coach. And I don't know where he's going to go unless we can fix his coaching badges. I just don't know really what you can do. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. Should we end this experiment here? He had a brilliant playing career. Clearly management is not quite working out for him. And I was thinking actually what we could do is start a brand new experiment where I create a brand new manager in the game, give him the perfect badges, absolutely everything up to the maximum, and see how he does in world football. Possibly starting him out at a non-league team and how well he can bring that team up as their manager. Let me know in the comments what you think the next step should be on this experiment. I'm also very soon going to be putting out an experiment where every Premier League team is bankrupt, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see that when it comes out in the future. You can also drop a like on this video if you want to see another part to this, but I don't know why you would want to see another part based on the evidence of this experiment. And you can also follow me on Twitter. If you've got suggestions for experiments, let me know what they are over there. If you want to help the channel out, you can also support it on Patreon. But until next time, see ya.